The top story this morning, Israel and Hamas agreeing to the first phase of Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan. Trump provided the details of the agreement last night on Fox News.
As we speak, so much is happening to get the hostages freed, and we think they'll all be coming back on Monday. Gaza, we believe, is going to be a much safer place, and it's going to be a place that reconstructs, and other countries in the area will help it reconstruct because they have tremendous amounts of wealth.
News of the deal caused these scenes, jubilation in both Gaza and Israel overnight. This first phase of the plan would see the release of all remaining hostages being held and the release of Palestinian prisoners being held in Israeli prisons. The military is also preparing to withdraw partially to an agreed-upon line. Now, in terms of reaction, as I mentioned, one of the key components of this first phase, the release of all hostages, the 20 still believed to be living, and the remains of those who have been killed. Donald Trump said in that interview last night they could come home as soon as Monday, but we have heard conflicting reports saying perhaps even Saturday or Sunday. So some detail yet to be determined. But the news of the upcoming release has seen people rejoice in Tel Aviv and particularly in Hostage Square. Let's go back to Crystal Gamansing, who has a special guest and a conversation for us this morning. Crystal.
Good morning, Heather. Yeah, I heard you just say that people here are rejoicing, and you can hear the singing, the clapping, the drumming behind me here at Hostage Square. People have been here for many, many hours. It is interesting because over the last 2 years, we've heard from many Israelis talking about every day over the past 2 years has been October 8th, that it is a shattered nation. And so there is a bit of relief, jubilation, but also hesitation because they don't want to celebrate too much until all of those hostages are returned. I want to introduce you to Rotem Cooper. His mother and father were taken hostage from Nir Oz on October 7th. Your mother, you said, was returned. Your father has died in captivity in Gaza. You are hoping his remains will be returned for you. Today, is it a sense of jubilation? Is it hesitation? How are you processing this news?
We still process. It's a process, it's in progress. Different feelings come at different time. It's complex. But yes, the first and most important, there is a sense of achievement. We, as the families of the hostages, we're fighting in the streets. We were carrying rallies. We went to the Knesset. We did a lot of interviews. We went abroad. We tried to raise world awareness. And all of a sudden, it's this moment. It's this moment that we have the deal that we all wanted. One deal to release all the hostages. And all the live ones coming within really maybe a few days. And it's almost disbelief. But as time goes, of course, it's sinking. And then there's a lot of complex set of feelings. In my case, in particular, and others, remember, 20, we're expecting to get 20 alive. But there are 28 that are not going to come alive. Many of them were abducted, like my father, alive. My father survived for 4 months, and there was plenty of opportunity to release him, to secure his release. And I feel personally a sense of failure to do that.
Who do you blame for that?
I put a lot on blame really on the Israeli government and the Prime Minister. Hamas ultimately murdered my father. Hamas shouldn't have kidnapped an 84 years old person and should have released him just like they released released my mother unconditionally within 17 days. But I don't have any hopes for Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hamas was very clear that its entire purpose is to murder Israelis and Jews, and that's what they did. I have a lot to say about the Israeli government, the IDF, that they haven't done a job to protect the place where I grew up, and then haven't done enough to really bring about the release of the hostages. The purpose is to bring the hostages alive. we shouldn't get points for bringing hostages, and there are 42 of them that were kidnapped alive, and now many of them coming back in bags.
So it is very much, you've described it so well for people to understand that complex series of emotion that you feel.
Yes.
Will the coming days, when will that moment of celebration be for you? Because obviously you want to give a proper burial to your father.
I don't think for me, they're going to be a moment of great celebrations. They're going to be probably some sort of celebration when the loved ones are coming. From the community where I grew up, Kibbutz Nir Oz, we have 4. The Kunio brothers. The Kunio family was our neighbors in the kibbutz. So we have David and Ariel Kunio. And then we have Eitan Horn and Matan Sangauker. That would be a celebration. After that, we're supposed to get 5 that are no longer alive, including my father. That's not going to be a celebration. It's going to be a sense of closure that we can maybe move a little bit on, but it's going to bring it all over again about what's happened in the kibbutz. Why did they let it happen? Why did mothers had to defend for their kids for many hours without the idea of being there? And why haven't they got them out within several days, at most 2 weeks?
What is your hope moving forward for relations between Israelis and Palestinians and the larger sense of peace in the Middle East? Is that possible in your mind?
It's possible. It's possible that, again, right now it's not center stage. We have this is going to be many decades, if not longer. Right now the focus, I'm thinking about the 20 that are alive, that they know they're going to be released. I'm thinking about the fact that the war is going to be over and there's not going to be any more loss of life, especially on the Israeli side and the young Israeli soldiers. The larger picture is much more complicated. We can't forget that it wasn't just Hamas who killed people in my community and abducted it was really villagers from the other side who burned alive people in my community. We shouldn't overlook that. Now, they could have been radicalized, this and that, but the fact is there is very few people on the other side that believe in a two-state solution, that really embrace the idea that Jews have the right to live there too. On our side, in my kibbutz, my father believed in two-state solution, okay?
It is so complicated and is so historic and so filled with emotion.
It's not that complicated, really. I'll tell you why. Not that Israel is, but I'm saying there is a substantial group of people on the Israeli side, whether it's 20% or 50% and it's moved over the years, that believe in a two-state solution. I can't say that on the other side. It does, obviously, and I want to see really the remainder of the Arab world and the Palestinians fully embrace the idea that Jews have the right to live here. When you go to Europe and the other side, the chants are not two-state solution. The chants are Palestine from the river to the sea. That chant meaning say, Jewish folks, you cannot be here. You cannot build on that, right? And that's all you hear from the other side.
So security guarantees is what everybody needs of peace
you need to hear people saying we want peace, not Palestine. You want the Australians to say, let's make peace. Let's find a way to live together. Then you know that you have a partner. But if all you hear is propaganda about Palestine from the river to the sea, you can't build on that.
Well, hopefully there is some peace. Hopefully today is the start. And I hope you have that moment where you get a bit of closure.
It could go in this direction. Just as it could have went in this many times in the past and didn't. We must hope. But I'm not focusing on that right now. We have, we had 2 years of terrible war. Hamas is the number one responsible. Israel government should be fully investigated for why they didn't guard the borders. There is very lack of transparency. Why they didn't prioritize the life of the hostages. Why they didn't send the medicine where they could.
So today is about
and that's
the hostages, get them out,
hostages, get
and
the
that's
live
the
one.
focus.
Then we're going to get all the remaining we need to mourn and bury. And then we need to fully investigate and do due process with the responsible people.
Rotem, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate your time. Take care.